Kart Republic have pulled the pin on the aero war at this weekend's FIA Karting World Championship for KZ. So this has been reported in T-Kart, who have published some pictures from the 10th of October. So as of time of recording, we don't know whether these nifty little tricks passed scrutineering, but I'm going to analyse them anyway and demonstrate the thinking behind them. What's caught most people's attention is the sculpted floor. Really, the most interesting part of what they're trying is underneath the seat. So let me explain. So this workaround has existed for a while, and I even drew up some designs myself of this idea, but I never got around to building it, and I can't tell you how frustrated I am right now, but let's leave that aside. So here's how it works. So let's begin with the floor tray. Now the floor tray has to end at the central strut of the chassis. Now both FIA and Motorsport UK don't really define where the central strut should be, but let's forget that for now. It is generally accepted a flat floor under a kart would be better because it would accelerate airflow, producing low pressure and thus downforce. In a sprint kart, you have this area behind the central strut which is just all open and very dirty. What you want to do is extend that floor tray backwards if you can. The issue here is you're not allowed to extend it via the floor tray, and if you bolt any sort of flat floor to the chassis, it would, in my view, suddenly be defined as bodywork, and bodywork is subject to mandates and homologation. So if you bolted anything to the chassis itself, you would find yourself in trouble with the regulations, in my view. If, however, you change the seat to additionally include a large flat surface underneath, then in effect you get the same effect as extending the floor tray or bolting a flat floor straight to the chassis. Now, when I designed mine, I was going to actually have the whole seat be moulded to include a diffuser as well. What Kart Republic have done is have two brackets that attach to the seat and then to a flat piece of carbon. It's a very brutal solution, but what it does do is in effect create a larger flat area underneath the kart. Now, had they moulded the seat, I think they would have been safer under the regulations. As it's bolted, whether that butts into the construction of the seat and the materials that you're allowed, I'm not sure. So we'll have to wait and see. It's Saturday morning as I do this video, so by the end of the day it might have been outlawed or it might have been accepted. But a clever solution nonetheless. Now, what's caught most people's eye is the sculpted floor tray itself. It seems to be designed to drive more air underneath the kart. Something the regs seem to allow as a pretty thin and very open to interpretation. The FIA regulations state it is mandatory to have a floor tray made of a rigid material stretching from the central strut to the front of the chassis frame. Now, this is where it gets a bit iffy. It must be laterally edged by a tube or a rim preventing the driver's feet from sliding off the floor tray. I'm not sure how this sculpted floor tray adheres to that. Motorsport UK's regulations are a little bit stricter because they in addition say the floor tray must be flat with any deviation allowed upwards and not downwards. So there's less ambiguity there compared to the FIA's regulation. But let's have a look at what they're trying to do. So these two ducts at the edge of the floor tray, if you look at this sort of hastily put together illustration, is it seems to want to drive some more air underneath the kart, and the floor tray is wider and it's sculpted around the frame. So they're just trying to create a larger area underneath the kart that's flat. And as you can see, you would drive air and then hopefully that air gets picked up by the flat area underneath the seat. So you can see that the area underneath the kart is much more neat and tidy than it otherwise would be. We'll have to wait and see what happens and whether it's declared legal, but the seat is a clever workaround, and provided that other teams can find something flat, they could actually copy this idea very quickly overnight, none in any potential advantage. The sculpted floor tray, however, might be more of an issue. We'll have to wait and see if that's deemed legal. Now, it's not the first time that this kind of thing has appeared at a World Championship event. In 1979, Zipkart tested a full floor tray with diffuser with Martin Smart at Estoril. Like anything, old is new and new is old. But we'll keep an eye on this weekend's action. It's sure to be a great event. It's such a release to be able to do a video like this where we're talking about the technical side of the sport and we've got some innovation. Now, I know there's some issues with the new bodywork with regards to Nassau panels where I'm sort of on the other end of the spectrum of what I feel about it. But for now, really cool innovation from Kart Republic. I suspect it'll all get outlawed pretty soon enough if it hasn't been already. But yeah, well done lads, and let's see how it goes this weekend.